Hello and welcome to Transformation Time. My name is Carol. I'm a transformational speaker, writer, blogger, and movable optimist, and I'm here to help you become the best version of yourself in your personal life as well as your business. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today we are going to talk about something that is really spoken about but not really implemented. It's sort of become something very fancy, but at the same time, it's something that is very difficult to understand. We are going to talk about personal development. Personal development is something that, adds value to yourself, but at the same time, it's something that has been viewed for only people who are in corporate. Now, as much as personal development has been attached to corporate people, you find that they're sitting in a boardroom or they have been, they have been supported in terms of them going on a course, or they're just adding value based on the fact that they're going to be valuable in that personal organization space. But personal development shouldn't just be limited to corporate environments. Personal development is something that adds value to you and what you're giving out to the marketplace. So it doesn't matter whether you are a student, it doesn't matter if you haven't had a job before, it doesn't matter if you are starting out, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur looking to bring out value to the market. Now, sometimes people will complain to say that personal development is something that they don't really see the value, even though they spend so many kwaches on it, or they spend dollars, or maybe they decide to invest in a mentor or a life coach. But you see, personal development is not so much about what the other person is about, it's about what it's adding to you. So many times you want to demand, or you want to unionize, or you want to strike, or you want to demand something that you haven't really put in the hard work. So somebody will have an organization and somebody is getting $4 and the other person is getting $20 per hour. Why do we have two different incomes in the same organization? It all matters on the kind of things that that person is bringing to the marketplace. What is it that they're placing value on themselves? So if you find that you are a $4 person, it means that everything that you encompass has got to do with that amount. So now I'm going to read something that, one of the guys that I listen to on YouTube, and his name is Jim Rohn. And he said, if you're not very valuable, you don't get much money. So you need to start thinking about what is it that I can add, because your income is a direct proportion to your philosophy and not always about the economy. So what are the things that you think about? Are you investing in books? Are you investing in videos? Are you investing in, TED Talks? Are you investing in seminars? Are you investing in workshops? What are the things that you are doing to make sure that you are actually growing that value within yourself? Because it's well and good if we, come into the market and we start talking about support your local team and all those things that people, always want to talk about. But, I was having this conversation with somebody recently. When it comes to you supporting your local team, what is it that you are bringing to the table? Just because you are a sister or a brother in the market doesn't mean necessarily that I have to support you if you are giving me a mediocre service. So you need to understand that in asking for somebody to support you, in asking for somebody to give you, a certain price for the product or the service, or, or anything that you're providing, we need to understand, are you actually worth it? These are things that we think about, because personal development grows you in such a way that, your philosophies of life begin to change. Where you thought certain things were not possible, they become possible. Where you thought you wouldn't get a promotion, you end up getting a promotion. Because remember, promotion is all about value. It's how much they're willing to pay you for the time and investment that you're giving in the period that you have been employed for, or, that you've been contracted for. So now when it comes to, personal development and adding value, what we value are totally different things, but we can't run away from the principles that personal development has to come with. And that is the fact that you have to be consistent. You have to be in a place where you are disciplined about everything that you want to achieve. You have to think to yourself, it's not so much about how much the book costs, it's not so much about how much the course costs, it's not so much about the time that you spend at a seminar. Maybe they'll ask you to be there from 8 until 5 o'clock. It's what happens afterwards. Because remember, as much as everything in life happens, it's always about, the 90% attitude. What are you doing with everything that has happened to you? It can be bad, it can be good, or it can be at a point where nothing has changed and you've just been on this constant line, you know, for so many years, and you're wondering why something is not changing. Or maybe you are seated in a place where you feel so frustrated and you sort of like understand what it is that you want to achieve, but the question still comes back. Have you really invested in yourself? What are some of the things that you have done? Because remember, you're the average of the 5 people that you spend time with. And that's something for you to really think about. Who are the people that are actually, you know, surrounding you? Who are the people that are, you know, encouraging you? Who are the people that are pushing you forward? And if they're not pushing you forward, what is really happening? And if you're constantly the same person who that everybody else, you know, is always looking up to, you then have to begin to wonder, have you really reached a ceiling in terms of who you are and what it is that you want to achieve? Because you can't always be the go-to person in the circle. You have to be at a point where you're moving from like 100 to 1,000 and 1,000 to 1,000,000, all those stages. You need to make sure that for every, you know, place that you're at in whatever season of your life, you are gaining something from it. Because you see, the thing with life is that it's so much easier to improve yourself from 80 to 100 as it is from 20 to 80, because you have been on this consistency journey. So it's so much easier for you to sort of like fill in the gaps when it comes to the things that, you know, you want to achieve. Because so many times people come into a space and they just demand, you know, like, this is my value. Sometimes, as much as you are valuable, you then have to have sort of like a freebie season, you know, where you talk about who you are, you sell yourself, you show people that this is what you have to offer. But to go out there and want to get something that you haven't invested in, to get something that you haven't worked hard for, or to get something that has just fallen on your lap is actually short-term served. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that in the interim, in the short, you know, time space, it may look like you're succeeding, it may look like you're forging ahead, but what really happens is that there's nothing to sustain that. It's like what they always say, not to, you know, give away the fact that people shouldn't invest or gamble and do, you know, the lotto kind of like stuff, but that's up to them. But this is me speaking from my, you know, understanding and way of life. If today I just come across, you know, $1 million, or, you know, in our currency here in Zambia, I talk about having maybe 1 million kwacha. If I have not necessarily worked for it, if I have not really planned out for it, because remember, you know, opportunity is about luck meeting preparation. If I've never sat there and I've never written down my goals, if I've never understood what it is that, you know, I can do with money, the minute it comes to me, I'm gonna blow it. It's the same thing with you having an opportunity that you haven't personally developed. If you don't have the sustainable foundation, if you don't have that groundwork, what are you doing with the little monies that you're getting at the end of the month? Because we can't run away from the fact that, you know, a lot of people are formally employed, and getting into the journey of entrepreneurship, which is something that, you know, we really give out on this forum, is so much about you becoming a better version of yourself and sustaining that better version. You guys always hear me talk about being inspired and being motivated and being directed and hearing things and all that stuff. But what the nitty-gritty comes down to is really about you sitting down and saying, how am I going to implement the things that I've learned in my head? Because remember, you can look good on the outside, you can do what's necessary, but where is your sustainability? How do we know that, you know, your CV adds up with the action that you're going to take place, you know, and the things that you're going to do? Because you cannot just be in a place and expect that whilst others are succeeding, you deserve the success that they are achieving. That is something that we need to run away from. We shouldn't be looking at things because you have a certain relationship with your supervisor or your manager, or, you know, because you have certain, you know, partnerships. Remember, the marketplace is about what you bring, you know, the value that you bring to it. Because I can deem you very valuable, and the next person is like, listen, this doesn't fit into our goals, doesn't fit in with our missions, it doesn't fit in with our values. So those are things that you need to understand. Another thing that Jim Rohn said was this: if you work hard, you will make a living on your job. But if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. Now, what is the difference with that? Making a living is about, you just meeting your basic needs. But then when it comes to you making a fortune, it means that it's about generations to come. It's about working capital. It's about mind transformation. It's you being in a space where today, if let's say you lost your job, you would still be in a position to start from somewhere because you have the skills, the abilities, you have actually added value to something that you already know in your mind. Because all this that you have from the head down, can somehow be sustained. But if you don't have anything there, it's very hard for you to get up from the ground and start working with it. So the question you need to ask is, have I really personally developed? It doesn't matter if you're in corporate. It doesn't matter if you're a student. It doesn't matter if, you are a service provider. It doesn't matter if, you are just starting out a business. Ultimately, everything that you want to achieve to become a better version of yourself, to transform yourself, has to do with the investment that you've placed on yourself. So I hope that this has been helpful to somebody. I would really love to understand and hear from you guys, because sometimes we can be on the other end and we're speaking and maybe it's not making sense to you. But we need to know, are people really understanding? Have you maybe, after listening to this, thought to yourself, you know what? I've actually been on the journey of personal development. Or maybe I've been trying to, but I haven't understood what I'm doing. If you look behind me here, I do have a library. The library is based on the things that I want to achieve. The areas that I want to grow. It's based on who I want to be. It's based on my passions. But at the same time, I also have some downtime when it comes to creativity. So all those things sort of have to have a balance in life. You may not be an old school reader like me. Maybe you don't like, stuff like this, but there's so many ways you can develop yourself, because I'm sure there's somebody out there who is thinking, okay, I've heard all you have to say, but what really can I do to take personal development? Personal development is you taking time to listen to audios. It's you taking time to listen to watch videos. It's you even just being on this program and listening right now. That's part of your personal development, because you may have planned to say every Sunday I'm going to, listen to Transformation with Carol, and this is what I'm going to learn. So you have planned it out. You have to be deliberate in the pursuit of your dreams, because things are not just going to be handed out to you. So in personal development, it's about setting time aside. What are you going to do? Are you going to maybe go back to school and begin a course? Is it that maybe you're going to take a professional skills course for some time? What is it that you can do? Find out what are the events that are taking place, because remember, it's not just about networking, it's about networking. So when you go to certain events, or when you align yourself with certain people, what value are you bringing to them? What value are they bringing to you? And what value are you creating? Because everything then, comes out into the whole cultural norm. What is it that people are going to expect? What are we doing to change the paradigm shift? What are we doing to change the narrative? Because so many times we are, always aligned with the things that have been done from years back and everything. Personal development is staying key with what is happening in the recent, in the now, and that is how you then apply it to be in the marketplace. Because personal development is about being relevant. If you're not relevant, we will not see your value. So I hope that this episode has helped somebody out there. In closing, I just want to remind you with this. It's not so much about what happens to you in life. It's about what you do with what happens in life. Remember, when it comes to personal development, take your mobile phone, take anything that, move with a notebook if you're old school like me. And whenever something comes to you, you write it down, you jot it down so that you can get back to it later. Because in having personal development, somebody can inspire you, they can motivate you, they can take you to a certain place where you feel like, you can do this, but the remaining action all depends on you. Don't forget to follow us on social media. It's QTV Zambia. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's at Mushota TT. I would love to hear from you. I would love to have your feedback, and I would love to know how the show is changing your life. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.